All right, folks, welcome to a market recap. Today, I did not take any trades, although you do see a trade, like a short position on the screen. I did not execute it. Now, there's a big lesson for the day because that trade should have been a loss, but I was grabbing a coffee and I didn't see the chart for like 5 minutes, and eventually, before the 5 minute candle closed, it hit me stop loss, right? So I was like, okay, cool. I was wrong. Now let's see what's the overall lesson from the trade, right? Because I was wrong. But before I can determine that was a lesson, I have to let the candle close, which I had to, let the candle close, let the market play out. So now looking back to it, I made a mistake. And the mistake, and the lesson of the mistake is the fractal nature of price. Now, also, people want like, well, you set up limit orders. As you guys know, I did not enter the trade because, as you guys know, I did not do limit orders, right? I did not, I don't like limit orders. They mess up your position. They mess up your spread. They fuck you up a lot. I don't use limit orders. The only time I use limit orders are in my stop losses. Otherwise, it's always going to be market order. Now, what about my take profit? Now, this is a quick little gem, right? For my take profit, I do not do limit orders. I primarily myself in the market and take myself out because now when your take profit gets met, you probably get hit way before it does in the actual chart. So it will make you get less amount of money, right? Which is no good. So you want to capitalize the shit out of it. So you get out yourself at the actual exact price point or relatively near it. Now, that's why the only time I do limit orders are in my stop losses. Otherwise, it's always going to be market order. Now, the trade should have definitely lost. And thank God market today not make us pay for it. I'm happy about it. But I do also want to take a loss on it. I did want to take a loss because this should have been a loss. I should have been smarter. I should have been smarter to know before the loss, right? Because the answer, this problem I face right here, the mistake I made, which was already solved way before, right? As you guys know, my daily ranges, when the premium or discount gets tapped, a candle, no matter where it is, if it's right below the equilibrium, the candle tapped it must close. Now, why is that? Now, as you guys know, there's two ways a key level gets tapped. There's two ways. Now, this is nothing new. This is how the market moves, right? There's two singular ways how a key level gets tapped. First is going to be go to it, range right below the key level or above the key level, right? Eventually tap the key level and cause an instant reversal. Second is going to be a tap the key level, range at the key level, soup out the range high, and eventually reverse. Now, there's two ways you can do it. Now, other than this, there's no other way. There's one more way, which is SMT, right? But that's SMT. Regardless, it's going to be the same way because one pair took it out while the other one did not. So the reaction is relatively the same way. Now, these are the only two every reaction. Now, the problem is, if I want to like see how do I know which one we do? That's a pretty good question. If you think about that, you're in the right path, right? You got to question why. You got to question which one will it do? Like, how do I know will it do the first one or the second one? Now, the way you would know which one you would do is using daily ranges. Now, at a daily range, when the equilibrium or the premium or the discount, in this case, our goal is a premium. Why? Because people are like, well, you already tapped discount, so I want to let the candle close, then eventually take a trade instantly. No, because in this case, the reason why we're here waiting for the premium first to get tapped is because we're overall bearish, so we have to wait for the premium, right? Simple as that. Selling high, buying low, right? So because of that, when the candle taps the premium, depending on what type of candle we're trading, this is trading a 1 hour candle, the candle taps the premium. In this case, we have to let that candle close. and eventually next candle sipping out the candle that tapped it, eventually reversing. Now that's the first reaction I showed you, right? Which was what? Which was boom, 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 right? Boom, like I never see this in the market. You do fucking see in the market if you pay attention, right? This all that's happening, right? He either goes, taps the key level, range of the key level, eventually to the soup and away from the key level, right? Speed to the key level, right? Trend, range, trend, right? So that's the nonsense, right? Now, as you guys know, out of the trend, it's gonna range, then reverse, right? I don't know if it was gonna reverse right now because you may go take out the high. I'm not sure until tomorrow. Now, what's one more thing we could talk about here is one more thing you gotta pay attention to is the other reaction. Don't like, well, you talk about the first one, what about the second one? What about the one that, it goes, it goes below the key level and taps the key level and eventually reverses without raising at the key level? That one is the way you would know you would do that one, which I'll show you an example of it, right? Fractal nature of price. The way you would know you would do that one is when there is no daily ranges, right? Easy as that. One is during the daily range, other is not during a daily range. Now, if I want like, this has got to be caps, but check it out yourself. I'll show you an example. Don't worry. Now, you probably like, well, Talk, you already talked about this 3 weeks ago. How are you facing this problem? As you guys know, a trader consistently improves. Now, me right now, I did not know it would be the same thing in the lower time frame, which is why I messed up. But you guys I forgot the simplest rule: fractal nature of price. If something happens in a 2-minute time frame, it will happen a 10-minute, hour, 4-hour, daily, weekly, monthly, 3-month, right? It'll happen on every single time frame, but the time he prints is just much slower or faster. Fractal nature of price, either regardless, does the same thing. The higher time frame, the lower time frame, which is why now this isn't a problem I face right now. I've already faced this problem way before, but it was in a higher time frame. It was based on a daily. I thought it just based on a daily because sometimes I don't use the weekly close above, close below as I do in the 4-hour, right? I don't use the breakthrough on the weekly as much as I do on a daily, right? So I thought it was gonna be the same way, but the fractal nature of price. If it happens on a weekly, it happens on a daily. If it happens on a daily, it happens on a 4-hour. If it happens on a 4-hour, it happens on a 1-hour. If it happens on a 1-hour, you have a 15-minute time frame, right? It always happens. Now, that's the overall big lesson. Fractal nature of price. Now, what we're going to talk about here, I already noted this down, already just journaled it right now, like a couple minutes ago, and wrote it down. I was like, okay, I've already made this rule way before, 3 weeks ago. Not even 3 weeks ago, way before that. It was probably a month ago, right? I was like, I already made this rule that, I'm not supposed to, when it taps the daily range, the candle that taps the daily range has to close because there's two type of reaction, right? And there's one that is in daily range and this one is outside of the daily range, right? Which I'll show you examples, don't worry. Now, real quick, before we get any further, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share, join the Telegram, link in the description below. But as I said, wrote my rules, and eventually I followed that rule so perfectly, right? I haven't made the same mistake since like a whole month, right? So I was like, okay, cool. I made the since I made the rule, I never made a mistake because I read it over and over and over, and eventually it became permanent in my mind constantly, right? So now I erased the rule. I was like, okay, this rule is now with me for the rest of my life. I will never have to break this rule again. I never have to read this rule again because now it's permanent in my mind because I'm constantly reading it for the past whole month. So that's why that's why I erased it. So, okay, cool. But today the problem I faced was the same thing. I was like, okay, I faced the same problem, but on a lower time frame. Now, instead of it being on the daily time frame when I faced it, today I faced it on the hourly, which I'm gonna face it sometimes in a 4 hour, but it's primarily gonna be an hourly time frame because for the New York OT, it's gonna primarily be in the hourly time frame. Sometimes 4 hour because it's gonna be 4 hour CRTs on our New York situation also. So okay, cool. I face this problem on a lower time frame, but it's still relatively the same rule. But eventually, like, okay, why? I was like, oh shit, fractal nature of price. Now that's the whole, anything that has a higher time frame will happen in a lower time frame, right? So okay, cool, perfect. I found out the solution to the problem, to the cause. So okay, cool. Now we journey it down. We wrote down. Now this rule is relatively the same rule, but in a lower time frame. Now this rule will never be broken through. Although I didn't take a trade, this shit will never happen again, right? Now, because as you guys know, I get PTSD, like, or you can call it anxiety or something. I call it anxiety. Anxiety is a little gay, right? I'm not gay. Okay, chat. Anxiety is feminine, right, or something like that. I get PTSD, like a man shit, right? So, you know what I'm saying? What I mean is, I get PTSD when I break my rule, right? I get PTSD, so that's why I say this will never happen again because I've fucking faced this problem. I was literally sometimes, like, there's a quick little story, right? Sometimes back then when I broke my rule, I would fucking, you know, I wouldn't cry, but I would get so angry, like, I was like, I'm a fucking murderer, right? I did not pay this to my own self. Like, I betrayed my own self, right? I said I'm gonna do this, but I didn't do it. I didn't take accountability, right? So I was like, I betrayed my own self, right? And eventually that hit my heart so fucking much because, like, man, I'm betraying my own self. Me, not somebody else. If I do somebody else, cool. If somebody else, is not me. But in this case, I'm doing me, right? That's why I tell you guys to have rules, because those rules are the ones you wrote down, and those are rules that if you fuck up, is your problem, right? Because you're the one who did it. Now I was like, okay, cool. When I wrote down, eventually I never made a mistake again because, like, I would get PTSD. I literally tweak out. I was like, oh shit, if I break my rule, you know, I'm betraying my own self, and I hate to betray myself, right? Because, you know, you don't know people to betray yourself, but as you guys know, you're usually, you know, most of you guys are, right? Most of you guys say, I told you guys do this, you guys don't do it, right? One girl, I had multiple girls, right? Not one, like, as a mentee, right? Like, for free. One other girl I had was, you know, she was better than most of the men I had as a mentee. Because a man, like, you're a grown ass man, you're breaking rules. This girl just followed the rule and, you know, sent me a screenshot 3-4 months later, and he was doing good, right? Well, this other fucker's still on me. I was like, what the fuck, right? I don't know. I mean, what I see is, me, like, women are much more emotional, but the man's that you guys are glow gay, man. All right, so enough of that. But so let's get straight into this market recap. Very lessonable. Let's over the lesson, right? But as you guys know, while I was bearish, now Tuesday did not deliver, and if you keep in mind, my CRT is primarily this price time based. I'll talk about time. I'll make a video on it right after this, right? Just to let you guys, you know, because time is very important. Everything I do is based on time. You guys probably know, like, my overall CRT on a daily time frame is this candle, but you can see why I marked this, right? Because time, right? Midweek reversal, time. You see Wednesday could make the high of the week. Eventually Thursday could reverse, making a midweek reversal. So I want to, like, well, what if the market goes down, give you a setup, but the market's past these range, but it's still in the outer range? Well, I will have to just wait until the market does offer me that, because that would avoid me getting stopped out. Because if you were to buy on this days, you would have been fucked up because the day was to the upside. You would have been slaughtered. Why? Because time wasn't there. You need to have time on your side. Now, my entry models, there are multiple entry models here, right? If I want to, like, you know, this and that's a Fractal. Like, some of you guys probably took it Fractal to the downside, right? Which I told you guys, but the time you took it was wrong, right? It was not the time. The time was good, but the dealing range. Hey, you want to sell in a discount. You do not want to sell in a discount, right? Be smart. Use your head. You do not want to sell in a discount, so you wait till premium, right? Now listen, premium, but I'm like, oh, this is premium. I took it short. That's a mistake I made, but it didn't cost me, right? But the candle that tapped in all the time frame, the tap the premium needs to close. Now I've already talked about this a month ago, and that's already a lesson, right? Market didn't cost me here today. But from now on forward, on a daily time frame or 4-hour or hourly time frame, and when there's a New York OTE and the candle that taps the OTE is that, which is like the hourly or the 4-hour candle taps the OTE, the daily range, like the premium discount of the New York OTE, the candle taps it, I will let the candle close no matter where it is, because sometimes the hourly candle close right over here, right? And eventually the next candle could tap it while it's being so near. But I'm like, well, that's gonna be a clear sign of reversal. No, it's not working that. I'll show you an example right after this, right? I'll show you quick examples, but you know, even with that, it will still regardless go range here and eventually reverse, right? So that's why I told you guys that no matter where the candle is, the candle taps the CRT or the dealer range or the premium or discount, or depending on depending where we're going. If you're bearish, we're waiting for the premium. If we're bullish, we're going to wait for a discount, right? When the candle tests the premium discount, needs to close. Now this rule is applied to the daily, to the 4-hour and 1-hour, and is applied to the weekly. In the weekly time frame, I don't use daily ranges, right? On the monthly time frame, I don't use daily ranges, but on the 4-hour, 1-hour daily time frame, I use it, right? And so on these specific time frames, now from now moving on forward, on a daily, 4-hour, 1-hour, whenever, especially in the 4-hour, 1-hour, whenever there's a New York OTE and there's a daily range, and the market taps a premium or discount of the daily range, which, how does the daily range, right? Stable high, stable low, stable high, stable low, or high, low, higher, high, lower, low. One like OTE, right? Or this is like, you could call the OTE or daily range, right? It regardless, it's the same thing. The market's coming back to a fair price, right? For the sellers or buyers, right? So on the 4-hour time frame or the 1-hour time frame, whenever there's a New York OTE or daily range on the, because daily range is OTE basically, right? Whenever the daily range, the candle that taps the daily range on the 4-hour, 1-hour time frame, the candle that taps it needs to close. Then I could proceed to look for a trade after that the candle taps it, closes. Then eventually, once it's the candle that taps it, closes, then the candle that taps the daily range will become a range. We use the candle, you know, we use the candle that tap the daily range, premium or discount as our range, and we will be using it to trade, right? Now let me show you some example of what I mean. Now a quick example is right here today, right now, all the time frame. Now, all the time frame is not a good example because you use a New York reversal now, right? The New York reversal doesn't make sense because the 5 a.m. also made the low of the day. So that's why I did not proceed taking the trade afterward, right? So when he taps it, the candle that taps it right over here needs to close, which he did. Eventually, this candle could have taken short, but there was some SMT here. Pretty sure it should be, right? Oh, there was SMT. Cool. Yeah, there was SMT. No. No, yeah, there was an SMT, but eventually, in this case, you're not taking the trade because today didn't make sense. So the model doesn't make sense. That's why the market's kind of ranging. Now, we should guys in a higher time frame. Now, on a higher time frame, a quick example would be, okay, let me see some examples because it's been a while. Right over here. This candle was a one tap of the daily range. So you can't anticipate a reversal on this candle. This candle has to end in order for you to anticipate a reversal. This candle taps it, needs to close, eventually reverse from there on forward, right? Now, in this case, how does the daily range here? Super low, super high, super low, super high. Now, in this case, if you pay attention to close to it, this is the day where we took that trade where it was a 6-hour, right? Which the market was way past the CRT range, so we just stuck in the 50% mark of the range that was traded, right? This was that specific trade. Now, how could we avoid that? Simply by waiting for this candle to close. Then we could have traded, but I'm only interested in making money, and not in that time. My rule said to get in, I'm gonna get in, right? Same to do here. My rule said to get in and get out. I got out and got in, right? As simple as that. Eventually, still these 2 days, I could have made money, but Now I'm like, I don't want to say could have, should have, but I had to wait, which, no, I had to wait, which I used that time to study even more. But that was that. You have to see constant improvement, right? Now, one more thing, let me show you guys my example here. So got a low here, so got a low, right over here, an example, possibly. This should be another example, right? It isn't a good example. Yeah, we won't use that as example because that daily range overall failed because our buy was supposed to be bearish instead of bullish. Let me show you guys another example. Taps it right over here, perfect. Now you can see the daily range, the CRT, right, was right below, right above the discount. And this kind of tapped it, but he failed, right? Why did he fail? Because, why? Because, say why? Why? Because the kind of taps need to close. Now, as the scanner needs to close, what you gotta do is we have to now tap this daily range, this opponent key level, this low broke the high. The opponent key level, daily range should close, right? In this case, in here, you gotta look for that instant reaction. You gotta look for that, range below, above the key level, tap the key level, remember to reverse. Now, in this case, the one I showed you, the kind of he taps it, the kind of close, and eventually reverses, right? My opponent was like, oh, this is still in the daily range. Well, guess what? Premium discount, right? Eventually, this kind of tap the premium, you need to close, not this specific candle, right? So that's how you kind of avoid that. Because if you were telling me guys what to wait on the key level or on the opponent key level to get tapped and close, everything this kind of reverses. No, because this was the kind of tapped it. This is the kind that needs to close. After that, you're still relatively not gonna look for a trade on the specific 4-hour candle, this daily candle. You're not looking for a trade on Thursday, the 21st. You're letting that candle close. Right after this candle closes, you're not trading that because this is overall your key level. You're waiting for it to get tapped, then you trade. Right, in this case, your key level or to get tapped. Look for a reaction without any ranges at the key level. While in this case, you would have definitely waited for a range to form. Let me see if I got more examples. Another example would be this. That a good example. Yeah, I don't think there was a daily range here. Put a low, sort of high. Yeah, still put a low, put a high, stable low, stable high. Yeah, there was no daily range there. There was a daily range over here though. Oh my goodness. Shit. Right over here. Daily range is right to the premium. They cannot tap the premium, right? Or the discount. Needed to close. As they close, then in this case, you look for reversal, right? You look for reversible, like, well, the next candle still came back down, right? But keep in mind, keep close in mind. In this case, this specific candle tapped the weekly objection, which was overall bullish because we tapped some sort of weekly key level, which is a weekly order block, right? So the objection of it already got met. So it didn't really matter. In that day, in that specific time, I wasn't bullish. I was overall bearish. But that time, the market gave me a setup over here. But you can see, same thing, right? But this one already met the objection because this was pretty sure a midweek reversal on both sides on the downside because you can close in a hammer candle, right? So that's why you gotta profit out of here because of that. And your weekly objection got met. Now this one will be a clear reversal. Let me see if we got more examples here. Okay, any more examples? That would have not been a good example. Okay, any more examples? What about this? Over here also, yep. Support a low, support a high, stable low, stable high. But over here, in this case, you can see tap tape, boom, right? This is the count of the tap tape, and this kind of tap tape also needs to tap this, right? It needs to tap this important key level because this is low broke high on the daily range. So if you were to look for longs here, you would have been wrecked because money needs to go back down to the fair price. And also you could see But like, well, the market never retraces back down, so what is low and what up high. You never sweep it up. But as you guys know, there's two ways. There's a way for us to trade a order block without a CRT being present, and the time we trade order block without a CRT being present is when it purchases out a important key level, which is a low that broke a high, or a high or low. In this case, it purchases out a important key level and higher and a low. So we could have traded this order block, sort of set up over here on a specific day. But regardless of whether this candle closed, eventually on this day, you would have taken a long. Right? Simple as that. Nothing too complicated. But if it was always fixed like that, it wouldn't be, you would be easy to trade. Now, another example would be here, right? Super high, super low, stable high, and stable low. We have not yet retraced to the premium, right? In this case, keep in mind, a premium discount on a daily range does not have any, does not have SMTs. SMT does not work in daily ranges, right? So also, this daily range maybe falls tomorrow. I may look for another short opportunity, or if this daily candle goes up higher and the next daily candle goes up higher, then eventually we'll wait, because I don't know if this actual daily range or not. How? Well, like, you sweep at a high, sweep at a low. So there's definitely a daily range. How do you think it's not a daily range? Because this high that swept it out was used as a different daily range, right? Because there's a daily range over here. This candle was bullish candle on DXY. So this candle, there was a low. This candle was supposed to be a sell of liquidity, or sell of liquidity. Eventually got below because you guys know we trust DXY more than EU. So got pursed. Eventually this high got pursed. Eventually stable and stable high. And eventually there's a premium. That was a daily range here for us. This high already got used. This high already got used for a daily range. So that's why we don't want to use the same high that got used already, right, to create a daily range. So that's why. Now, thank you for watching. If you guys like, comment, share. That's the lesson. Lesson is to, regardless, the overall lesson is the nature of fractal nature of price. Whenever the market, now this is on daily time frame, 4-hour time frame, hourly time frame, in the situation, right? Whenever market taps the daily range, the premium or discount, right, of the daily range, it kind of taps it, needs to close. Then I'm looking for a trade afterward, after it closes, right? So yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share. Join the Telegram, link in the description down below, and I'll see you guys inside the Telegram.